Hello, everyone. We are live on the restream, and I am really blessed because I have potentially an amazing guest that will that I will show in my room a bit later. And right now, I'm just going to check if I am live in LinkedIn and YouTube. I think I have to close some tabs because I have some incredible tabs out there. So I am just going to check if I am audible in LinkedIn and in YouTube. So normally I am live in YouTube. Let me check. And am I audible? Yes. So replay team or live team, thank you so much for joining my session. Yes, I am live in YouTube. And I am live in LinkedIn. Let me check. At the same time, when as you are there on the live on the replay team, let me know how are you feeling. So today is the 8th of September. It's Monday, and I have some good news for you. But from now, I'm going to check if I'm live and audible on LinkedIn. So. Ta, 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 ta. It starts to load. So welcome to Refrench Your Brain. We are on the 8th of September. And yes, indeed, I have a good news for you. And so I am also sharing something that is really interesting. I am right now in a place that you will discover tomorrow. And so this is a sneak preview just for your eyes, just for a few seconds. I am in the World Bidding Expo, and this event will start tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's 4 p.m. my time in Central Europe, and will end at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and which is 4 a.m. my time. I'm going to have a long night. I got a feeling that tonight ought be a good night. So that's the preview of the World Beanie Expo. I stopped my share. So if you are live, let me know how are you feeling. I see Wendy's is already on the place. And so if you go below, you can see my Go Brunch room, gobrunch.com/refrenchyourbrain. And I have already a special guest, by the way. I'm going to see if she's still there. And I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. And I am going to unmute. Bum, 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 bum. I'm a bit like stressed because I'm not the only one with the room, but she is incredible. And so I am audible and I am showing 2 times on my camera. And now I am going to unmute my tab. And so, no, I'm not going to unmute the right tab. So it's okay. I'm going to close this one and unmute this tab. And Wendy, you are also welcome to join on my Go Brunch room. So here I am back with my guest, who is CK. Welcome, welcome, CK. And
Welcome, Ollie.
so first, how are you feeling today, my friend?
Today is a fantastic day. What about you?
I'm feeling blessed because you are here in my room. This is the first
Oh,
time that in a while that I welcome people. Normally, I'm the only one on my room. And I'm really blessed that you joined and that you allow yourself to show. And it's a blessed day because I'm here to talk about languages, cultures, and my mission. And so, aside the language of your heart and aside English, are you learning or speaking other languages?
Not fluently. My plans are to take a few languages on what is the Duolingo,
Mm,
because my daughter has been studying Duolingo Spanish and Duolingo. I think she's about to hit 4 years.
mm,
And I find that no matter what language you speak, the utmost important thing is to be able to tune into the frequency of the heart to each person that you encounter, to meet them right where they are. We may not all speak the same verbal language. However, nonverbal language and being able to understand even without words, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, being in tune with the emotion of the heart, of how other people show up. We don't always have to agree, yet even if you don't agree with where a person is, they still have they still deserve honor and respect. Everyone may not necessarily be your cup of tea, or someone else may not be my cup of coffee, but who's to say that you can't have tea and I cannot have, let's say, hmm, you may be prefer your preference may be tea or coffee, someone else's preference may be apple juice. But if we can meet in the middle and decide to have meaningful conversations, cross pollination like plants, when we're willing to cross pollinate or reach across the aisles, not even necessarily reach across, meet somewhere in the middle, and our willingness to listen to someone's heart, or just simply ask, how may I be of service to you? What do you need? Is there anything that I can do to make your day better? I feel that that's important. That speaks volumes. When we tend to look, with the world being as polarized as it is, if we can simply take the time out to say everything does not have to be a debate, it does not have to be a conflict. Let's meet in the space that we're all familiar with, which is a heart space. And meeting in a heart space, that is a universal language that everyone can benefit from.
mm. Yeah, the heart space. And for me, it's also to realize that conflicts and disagreements are sane and are okay, because it means that everyone is able to express their disagreements. And at the same time, we don't need to fight each other's. The world is abundant. And more I connect with spirituality or God, or you can name it anything. I think like the world is abundant, but when I see some people with so much resources, there is never enough abundance for them because they want more and more. But there are people that doesn't want to become like Elon Musk or having 17 villas or whatever. They just want to be able to breathe, to have freedom, and to have enough food in the table, and at some point also to have a roof over the head. And so that's in a nutshell, to be able to coexist into this world. This is a miracle, even if this world since many decades is crumbling apart. There are still places in this world um, who are amazing, luxuriant of nature. And it's also to realize that we cannot expect to live in a place in the world where there is nature, and having letting run other places in the world where people are in despair. are having bombs or having water pollution or food problems or toxic stuff or wars, violence. Whether it's about wars or violence, whether it's about in Ukraine or in Palestine or whatever it's about the streets of Mexico or Colombia or whatever the places with the gangs. And I think the most important is to realize that we are here for a moment, and that it's just about being conscious about the vibration that we emit. And so my wish, my hope is that at some point, I don't know if it will be once in my lifetime, or if it's never going to happen, but I tend to do my best with me in my part to bring this world a better place. And that's why I connected through my mission 5 6 years ago and confirmed 3 years ago with the new language community, which is about the language, how to teach and convey and coach the language, knowing the brain. And so that's my booth right now, that I will be in the expo in a bit more than 18 hours. And I'm blessed also to have discovered Jessica's community, where we were connected with Jessica Dugas. And I'm through the restream, I'm also seeing Wendy Wallet, that I was meeting through LinkedIn, and Joshua also in LinkedIn. And Go Brunch is an amazing space where we can meet, where we can gather, and being able to speak all around the world. The world could be in a Go Brunch room. At some point, in the World Building Expo, there will be hundreds and hundreds of people on the whole planet, from the western part of US to the eastern part of New Zealand, like 21, 22 hours of people all around the world. And so it's to realize that it takes just a few humans to participate, to elevate the vibrations of the world, and also to say, not in my name, whatever politics decisions are going to happen, it's not in my name, it's not on humanity name. And so before I'm giving you the mic, I would like also to welcome people in the Go Brunch room if they want to join. I will be there for 1 or 2 more hours after my show, and this show will last 20 25 minutes, um, 30 minutes. So we still have 20 minutes in the show. I tend to make it short and sweet. And so, by instance, I would like to know more about your language journey. Um, did you learn any language in the past?
Yes, I learned elementary level French. I am from the state of Louisiana. Before Louisiana became a part of the United States, it was owned by France and acquired through the Louisiana Purchase. It was a territory. So um, even lots of the law in Louisiana is still based on Code Noir, the the French law, because it was a French territory.
Mhm.
So in elementary school, we learned early French, and even being from Louisiana, even some of our parish, other states have counties, we still have parishes.
Mhm.
There was a large French Catholic population there, so many of the places are still French based, not necessarily in just the people, but in the original names of the places. Like, I'm from Baton Rouge, and anyone that knows even elementary French, Baton Rouge is red stick.
Mm-hmm.
and it was initially inhabited by the native indigenous peoples
Mm-hmm.
that lived there. So um, I am very fascinated with other languages because it helps you to, those who are interested in people, we could all be saying the same thing, but in a different language. But if there can be easily a breakdown or a miscommunication, and as you were speaking about conflict earlier, when we can stop and learn to listen without feeling the need to automatically jump in and respond, we can hear what a person is saying from their heart. Or you can center yourself and say, okay, Spirit, allow me to hear what they mean. For example, you may say something and someone else may easily take offense
Mm-hmm.
to what you have said because they are listening from a space of, they could very well be listening through their own filters where they're coming from a space of rejection, abandonment, or just not feeling worthy, you see. So we don't even have to necessarily be speaking a different dialect or a different language from another country to be speaking the same fundamental language like English, but there's still being a breakdown in communication or miscommunication. That's the importance of emotional intelligence, tuning into the heart space, and the willingness to listen for the purposes of understanding, not listening for the first opportunity to jump in and make yourself heard.
Mm. Thank you so much. And as you were speaking, I was sharing my screen about some YouTube videos about the Acadians, or I call it the Cajun, CA.
Cajuns, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I'm not going to play any video, but it's really amazing because I was many years ago, I was seeing a documentary, both in French and in English, the same documentary, and I liked it so much because they, they were speaking a kind of a dialect of French. I was not really understanding them in less few words, and so
Yes.
it's called the patois,
Yes,
and
it's a patois.
it's really amazing because when I express the sound patois, it could be the dialect, but it could be also not you, but it's not written the same. It's PAS space TOI,
Yeah,
like
yes.
not you, but patois is a way of a dialect.
Yes.
And that's the old French on the 16th or 17th century that came into this region, and they are still speaking the old French. And as always, I was thinking, ooh, that reminds me about when you are going to sea with a submarine under the sea, and you are seeing a volcano deep into the sea, boiling some lava and some. And so for me, it's like when I hear a language that sounds like the Cajun, the old French, is like this kind of volcano that is expulsing amazingness from the center of the earth. And
Yes.
so that's the same with Mr. J. And I'm going to salute this evening Mr. J. Pasqua, the storyteller, who is living in US but originally from Guam, from the Marina Island,
Mariana Islands, yes.
Mariana Islands, and where they are speaking Chamorro.
Uh-huh.
And each time that he's speaking Chamorro, I was thinking about this kind of volcano bubbling some incredible words from the past. And as always, many tribes were colonized, whether colonized by Portugal and became Brazil with Portuguese, or colonized by Spain and then speaking Spanish. And for me, it's reminding that it's like as if we are from Earth, and we are colonizing Mars or Jupiter or I don't know, Europe or any other planet.
Correct.
There is the original language, and then there is evolution. French
Yes.
many centuries ago is not the French of now. And I recall a few months ago, the one of the politics in France was suggesting inviting people to rename the word français, because French is not only tied to France. French, of course, it's originally from France, but it spread in Canada, Quebec, Montreal.
Yes.
It's also
Suriname in South America,
that's it,
different.
and
Yes.
also Switzerland and Belgium, and
Hmm.
also the islands, Dominique.
The Ivory Coast in Africa,
That
and
yeah,
many, Mozambique. So there are
yeah,
many places where French, the original French language spread through
yeah,
colonization.
and so Martinique, Dominique, Guadeloupe, all these
Yes,
kind of Creole languages that are not 100% French, but are having some similarities. And so it's to realize that some places were colonized, and Mariana Island were colonized by many countries historically, but especially Spanish. So there is a merge
correct.
between the Chamorro and the Spanish, and also the religions. So what is
Yes,
sad is that even before the war was this kind of divide between the indigenous and the Spanish tribe, and then the American came during the Second War, and was also this divide because since the war, I think Mariana Islands is Guam is part of the U.S., but
yes.
they don't have the voice.
It's a U.S. territory, you're correct.
Yeah, and they don't have the voice when it comes to decide their own destiny in their region.
Yes. They don't have the representation or the congressional votes or the voices to make decisions about their own territory.
Yeah,
They receive the benefit, if you will, of being U.S. citizens without having the personal ownership of responsibility to do what is in their own best interests.
that's it. And what I would like also to say is that because there were original countries like Portugal, Spain, France, the Netherlands, Germany, and then there are multiple Frenches, multiple Englishes, multiple Spanishes, Portuguese, even multiple Germanis, I would say, with an ES or with an S, because Germany, there is Germany, Luxembourg, Austria, and probably also other parts of the world, but French all spread. Spanish, there are multiple Spanishes because there is a Spain, but then there is also Mexico, San Salvador, and also other countries like Panama, I think. So there are many.
Panama, Cuba,
Cuba,
yes.
yeah, and they
Mhm.
are different. Of course, there is probably a trunk like 60 to 70, 80% of things, but then there is the locality and the accent. I was remembering myself a few years ago that first I was thinking they were two different, but even in Brazil there are different accents. Like in Portugal, when you say good night, it's boa noite, boa noite, and in Brazil, it's boa noite. But even in Brazil, they are saying boa noite in some regions. So
Yes,
it's to realize that there are different pronunciation. There is also different vocabulary. I was joking because one or two was laughing because 1 or 2 years ago I was aware about the different words. There is the famous O R and O U R, like color, neighbor, flavor, that is different from UK, from US, but there is also rubber, because rubber in UK doesn't mean rubber in US. They are having different. Was Someone was in the Emirates, I think, learning the UK English, and then she came into US, and she was young at school, and she asked her neighbor to lend her his rubber, which was similar to a razor in the UK. but in US, you know what it means, the
Yes.
rubber. So it was like a lot of confusion, like, oh, lend me your rubber. So,
Yes.
so it's same in French. There are words that doesn't exist in France, that exist in Canada. Even in Africa, there is a verb that it's to compete. Here in French, we say faire compétition or compétitionner maybe, but in Africa, they say compétir, and it
Yes.
only exists in Africa. Another thing is that there is also the number. I'm trying to catch myself when I teach. That's really my challenge because I'm from Belgium. There is another way to say some numbers compared to France, like the 70 and the 90. In France, it's 70. I don't know why, but it's the rule. It's like 60-10. And then there is 80 for 80. That's the major thing. And it's really good to know the history. Why 80? Because at the ancient time, especially from the Celtic, it was counting not decimal but duodecimal. It was each 20. It was like probably 2 20, 4 20, 6 20, and 80 maybe. And all the things were wiped out except 80. But then 90 in France is 90. But guess what? In Belgium, we are probably more simpler because we say 70 for 70 in France, 70 in Belgium for 70, 70,
Yes.
and then 90 for 90. So 9, 9, 90 instead of 90. But then there is also, they say 90, 91 until 99 for 99. Here we say 91, 92, 99. So it's really also to remind myself that if I teach French to someone who is living in Brussels, I will say 95. If it's someone living in France, I will say 95. Also to adapt to the locality.
So the subtle hints and nuances of beautiful languages. And as you were mentioning rubber, how rubber means different things in different places, it all context is very important in language as you were speaking, because in the United States, like you said, rubber means a different thing, but there are also euphemisms such as when the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
That rubber meeting the road has nothing to do with prophylactics, or contraceptives. It's the rubber of the tire. But
Mm.
when it's used in the context when the rubber meets the road, it means when there is friction, or you're getting down to, shall I say, the nitty gritty of things. It's the elemental foundation of truth, because a friend of mine and I, some of my military brothers and sisters, who said, hey, we will ride with you until the wheels fall off, or when the rubber meets the road, or sometimes we have gone the distance with each other, even when there is no rubber, it's just iron on asphalt, so it's and as in the context of language you were speaking, of different languages and different influences based on cultural norms and dialects of ethnicities. One language that is universal, even though it may have a different flavor, is food. So when you can speak the language, because food transcends the verbal language and is the language of the heart. And if we can all meet, such as bringing our best selves, which could be, you could represent potatoes au gratin, so to speak, where someone else could represent coq au vin, someone else could bring paella. They're bringing their own flavor and their own nuances of a universal language, which is food. And if we're willing to meet each other right where we are without the expectations of enforcing or imposing your will or your way upon someone else, we all get to benefit from the deliciousness of what each other bring, without any without any force, allow it to be in the flow of things, and willingness to be open to what others have to offer. It may not necessarily be your taste, but it may not be your taste because you have not partaken in it yet, or you may not have met someone from their part of the world or their walk of life. So that too is a language.
Mm, thank you so much. And yes, we can also find union through food and through music, and to discover each
Yes.
other's cultures. Also through clothing, because some clothing are amazing, like Africans and Caribbeans and other like Trinidad and Tobago. They have amazing clothing, and so I'm going to end this session pretty soon. So, what are your final words before I close this session?
My final words to everyone is to find what lights you up. What is your love language? Is it linguistics like Ollie? It could be painting, it could be speaking to or assisting the youth. Find what lights you up, find your love language, and present the best of who you are to humanity, knowing that it will reach someone or resonate with someone else. Uh, and when you show up in authenticity for the purpose of bringing value to others, just because someone else may not see your valuable, just because someone else may not recognize your value, it does not mean that you are not valuable. They just may not be your audience or your cup of tea.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to share one of my secrets is that now as often that I don't do this each day, but I was doing it really recently, is that we are 8.2 billion people, so we are all different. And the way is that I love coffee, and also I love weird things. So many years ago or many months ago, I was putting lemon in my coffee. Right now, I was drinking coffee with tiramisu ice cream in my coffee, and so
Mhm.
it's delicious. When you can imagine to have an ice cream coffee, that's delicious. So with that, I'm going to just share the video. I'm going to be out of my room, but I'm going to be back to you later, CK. And
Sounds good.
I'm showing the video because we met through Jessica, and Jessica is an amazing human being, a sister. And I'm really blessed to have known Jessica, because then I came to know Teresa, CK, and Farron, and so many other amazing people from the Breakthrough Show Network. So I'm going right now to show the video of this Breakthrough Show Network, and then I will end this session and I will go back to this room.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Thank you so much, everyone, and keep shining. And see you tomorrow in the world building.